Okay, so I fully automated my agency after scaling it to about 80K a month. And if I were to go back and do it again as quickly as physically possible, this is exactly what I'd do. Now, disclaimer, when I say as quickly as physically possible, I really mean it. I'm going to show you some of the downsides at the end of this video because this is a really fast, lazy man's kind of way to do it. But either way, we'll just kind of get into everything here. Now, this is really important. Speed is priority, right? Like I said, we'll talk about margins and everything as we go. But there are three things we need to automate the agency. The first is fulfillment, the second is marketing, and the third is sales. Now, the reason we have them in this specific order, we'll get into that in just a second. Fulfillment and marketing, the order is not too important here, but we do want to have a sales rep closer to the end, because what that allows us to do is when we have marketing, when we have calls coming through, then we're more easily able to get a really qualified sales rep who's very skilled because we know we have call volume for them, right? If you don't have call volume, it's a much sketchier situation. You'll have people not, the best people want to know that the money's going to be there when they get hired. So that's why we want to do marketing before sales. That being said, the first thing that we want to do is pick a proven niche that has money and ideally sell at about $2,000 a month. You can do 1,500, you could do 2,500, 3K a month, whatever it is. But I'm talking like contractors is a pretty tried and true, very common niche. The reason we want to go with a proven and somewhat common niche is because of who we're going to be reaching out to for fulfillment and marketing to make this happen. The more common the niche, the easier it's going to be to find solutions in these areas. And the easier time you're just going to have in general, automating this whole thing and having it actually work. Like I'm talking about having this thing actually function and be profitable and be a real agency, just so you know. But the first things first, pick a proven niche with money, sell it around $2,000 a month. The reason we want a higher price point, some niches you kind of get throttled and you have to do like $800 a month or something like that. One of the challenges there is we're going to be doing a lot of hiring and a lot of outsourcing, and that eats away at your margins. So I wouldn't want to be doing anything less than like really on the low end 1.5K a month for this specific model that we're talking about here. So that being said, we've picked a proven niche. It's going to be some type of a contractor. They have money. And again, we're going to be selling at 2K a month. Now, the next thing that we want to do is automate our fulfillment just straight out the gate. And that's going to be done through a white label fulfillment partner. Now, the thing is, you're going to want to do a ton of research. You're going to want to do many, many interviews with these companies. I'm talking literally 10 of them, and ideally even more, to find exactly what you're looking for. Because the reality is, if you're looking to fully automate this thing, ideally you don't want to have to be talking to the clients, right? Like for the sake of this video, we're talking about fully automating this agency, right? And in the beginning, I'm personally, I actually disagree with a lot of this methodology that I'm going through with you in this video, but this is like a hypothetical. If we wanted to move as quickly as physically possible, take this thing from zero to automated in the shortest amount of time, finding a white label fulfillment partner would be the way to go. And what you'd want to do, though, the reason I say do a bunch of interviews, do a ton of research, is we're going to have some really specific criteria we need them to meet for us, right? They need to be able to actually interact with the clients on our behalf and do the support, right? We need them to be able to onboard the clients, and we need them to be able to maintain the ads on an ongoing basis. I'm just using social media ads as a basic service here because proven niche, proven service, we don't want to be taking guesses here. This is we're looking for the most tried and true possible path to walk here. So again, we'll want to find a white label fulfillment partner. The thing is, this can be pretty expensive. This can be like $500 a client a month, right? And your margins as we go through here are going to go down, and that's just how it is. It depends on what level of support you're looking for, but at the same time, the more support you're providing, the more you can charge your clients. So that's worth keeping in mind too. But we want to find a white label fulfillment partner, do a ton of interviews, and just straight out the gate, just get fulfillment done and out of the way. So now fulfillment has been automated. We have a partner that we know we can work with. We don't actually even need to start paying them yet because we don't have clients. So that's one way to just save a little bit of cash. But now you know exactly who you're going to be working with when you sign clients on, and it makes sense with your pricing model. Now, the next piece is the marketing side of things. We need leads, we need appointments set, and we need appointments to show up. Now, do you want to be sending cold outreach or launching ads yourself? Of course you don't. So what we'd want to do here is hire an appointment setting agency. Literally, right? You're hiring a white label fulfillment partner. You're basically just hiring two agencies here to do your fulfillment and then to do your marketing. And the thing is, you want to specifically hire an appointment setting agency because if we're trying to automate this thing as quickly as physically possible, then what we want to do is make sure we're not hiring a lead gen agency, then having to call these leads and set the appointments ourselves, and then go and hire an appointment setter and then manage an appointment setter in-house, right? The ideal situation here is to have fulfillment completely automated for you. You just have to speak directly with the agency. And then you also want to have appointment setting, again, completely automated for you, the lead gen and appointment setting. All you have to do is talk back and forth with the agency, and it's on them for the calls to show up as well, right? So you just have 2 points of contact here. All your fulfillment's being done through 1 point of contact. All of your appointment setting and appointments showing up, this is being handled by one other point of contact. So you only have 2 points of contact or 2 contacts that you need to manage here to make this happen, right? So now you're at a point where and yes, the thing is, this does cost some money, and that's one of the caveats to this whole strategy that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And there's some more here too. But either way, now you're at a point where you know what price point you're selling at, you found a white label fulfillment partner that's going to do all the fulfillment for you, and now you've also hired an appointment setting agency that's going to generate your leads and book your calls for you. Okay. Now the thing is, at this point, your margins, probably about 50% of your margins are gone just from this alone. So that's something that's worth paying attention to. And depending on if you pick the wrong partners, more than 50% is likely going to be gone in this case, right? Because this is assuming that you're paying $100 per appointment. So it's more likely going to be a cold outreach type agency. You're paying $100 a show. I mean, if we're saying this is, sorry if this is confusing. If we're assuming that this is a $500 a month expense, then what we're looking at is 5 show-ups at $100 per show-up and a close rate with the sales rep of 20%. So if that's the case, this agency needs to be getting you appointments at show-ups at $100 or less. And of course, you need to be closing them at 20% or greater, right? 20% is KPI for your close rate. But in any case, you can be at this point where everything here is fully automated for you for roughly $1,000 a month or so. The problem is having that money out of pocket, and there's another problem that I'm going to get into shortly here, like I mentioned. But now we have fulfillment fully automated. We have appointment setting fully automated. Again, you're going to want to do lots of research on a bunch of different types of companies. Ideally, get a referral if you know somebody. But now we're at a point where fulfillment's dealt with, marketing's dealt with. The last piece of the puzzle is really just sales, the last piece of the puzzle. So with sales, now what's interesting is you're at a point where you have X number of appointments coming in per month because this agency's more than likely given you some kind of a guarantee that they're going to get you X to Y appointments per month. Of course, the challenge is that this is going to cost you a fair amount of money, right? But even then, you're at this point now where you can hire a sales rep from within the industry, say, hey, like, here's the situation, right? We have X number of appointments on the calendar. You come in, you close, give them usually between 10, 12%, on the high end, 15%, kind of depends on price points. And are you paying them based on LTV? Are you paying them, for every month that a client stays? Are you paying them based on that? There are a bunch of different ways that you can pay. But in any case, let's say you gave them 12% per signed client per month. Cool. Once they start signing clients, all you have to do is tell the agency, hey, let's ramp this thing up, right? And let's just get more appointments coming through, and then this flywheel starts to spin. So as long as the sales rep is closing at 20% and the appointment setting agency is getting you these show-ups at $100 or less, and you have this white label fulfillment partner that's, again, doing this for you at, a rate of about, $500 per client per month kind of thing, right? So now you're at a point where on your $2,000, you're dropping $1,200 a month to have everything here fully automated. Now, one thing you need to pay attention to is you need to fire these people fast if they're bad. Very fast, because you're paying good money for all of these solutions, right? So if you have clients who are pissed off or the clients aren't getting results at all, like, you need to know your numbers and really pay attention to, are they doing what they said they would do, right? Is the sales rep closing within KPI, et cetera, et cetera. And Either way, though, now we're at a point where fulfillment's automated, marketing's automated, sales is automated, and you have this agency that's fully automated completely from scratch. And the reason this works is because, again, we're picking a proven niche and a proven service, very common, paid ads, right, for contractors in this example. You'll be able to find white label fulfillment partners for that, 100%. You'll be able to find cold outbound appointment setting agencies for that, 100%. Sales reps from within the industry, same deal, 100% you'll be able to find those. The challenge, obviously, is doing the research to find these two, building the network and building the connections to find somebody like this within the industry. Or if you even wanted to, you could hire an agency to find that sales rep for you. Challenge with that is that's going to be somewhere in the range of 8 to 10 grand kind of thing. That seems to be pretty common out there. Some agencies will do it for cheaper. What quality are you getting, right? There are lots of questions there. But in any case, you can just, again, have 3 points of contact. And if you hire an agency for this as well, they'll actually train the person, ramp them up, and oftentimes have a rep replacement guarantee. So that if this person's not closing at 20% within the first 30 days kind of thing, then they'll just replace them for you, right? So again, you're operating on sub 50% margins. That's something that's worth keeping in mind, right? You're operating on 40% margins in this case, assuming everything's working perfectly. Is everything going to work perfectly? Probably not. That's not how things tend to go right out the gate. So that's why I say you need to fire fast if these companies or sales reps are underperforming. Again, if you work with an agency here, even better. And this is like, again, the absolute fastest way, the most lazy man's way to automate an agency from complete scratch. Just like take the proven cookie cutter blocks, jump into a saturated space. Now, one of the caveats here is that you do need to know how to make a strong offer, right? You need to have a strong offer. So that's one of the caveats. Another one of the caveats is, again, you need capital to do this. Hiring an appointment setting agency like this, it's going to cost you more than likely a few grand a month. So if you don't have $3,000 a month to throw around and potentially lose 10K or 20 or 30K in the process of finding the best agency, that's obviously going to be a challenge. So there's some barriers to entry here. Same thing with hiring a rep. You can do it yourself. The problem with that is, how do you do it? Have you done it before? Where do you get the connections? And then on top of that, if you do hire an agency, again, that's going to cost you like 10 grand. Have you managed a sales team before? Do you know anything about sales? You don't have to, but if you want to be a good sales manager and if you want to help get reps out of a slump, which is really an inevitability or close to it, you want to have some sales knowledge or have somebody who can manage them for you. So having a sales manager is one caveat here as well. Again, lower margins is one of the challenges. For example, if you're going to be doing, outbound yourself, fulfilling in-house and everything, like you can have margins 80% plus, right? So you can have double the profit or, need to make half the revenue to do that if you do everything in-house. So that's one thing worth noting too. And you have very little control over your system. You don't have your own systems here really, right? The only thing is like your sales rep, whips up a pitch that is working. Cool, now you can save that pitch in a Google Doc for a future sales rep. But otherwise, you don't have your own internal systems. This is all just like a fully outsourced approach, and you have complete reliance on others. So if the agency shuts down, great, now you need to find a new one. Or if the agency is not doing a very good job, you need to either get them to do a good job or fire them and find a new one. You can get locked into contracts and have challenges there. Same thing goes with a white label partner, right? You're fully relying on other people to run your business. And that can be okay, but I personally prefer to have maximum control because that also comes with maximum margins. So my preferred approach is to do this in-house for as cheap as possible, right? Do the appointment setting in-house as cheap as possible. Hire a setter if needed, right? That's what I did in my agency. Operations manager, setter, sales rep, right? And I actually paid an agency to hire sales reps for me, right? So that's not to say you can't still do that, but I was still the sales team manager, right? And I built the sales process myself. So that's kind of really my take here. So again, fastest way, lazy man's way to fully automate your agency completely from scratch. If you want to work with me to automate your agency, scale it up, I like to sell with a low ticket call funnel. So you're, basically at a one-to-one on your ads, getting calls in borderline for free. In some cases, my clients are profitable on their ads and getting paid to take sales calls, which is pretty cool. So if that's interesting to you, book a call with me personally in the description. We can talk about that, but otherwise click whatever's popping up on screen and I'll see you there.